podcast called Jellison podcast.
He probably doesn't remember this at all.
Yeah, record together. It's easy.
This is kind of real. Like, holy shit.
And so it's really cool to get to be a part of that.
Hey, you know how it is, though. Hey, when
you now tune into the biggest ever.
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
What's up, everyone? We're back with episode 130 of the Jellison podcast. Today, very special guest, Mr. Dewayne Beckford. Dewayne, how are you?
I'm good, man. Glad to be here, man. Glad to be on the podcast, dude.
Yes, sir. I mean, I've been a fan of yours for quite some time now. Probably over 10 years at this point, honestly. I don't want to make you feel old, but obviously you were you were a Boilermaker when I was real little. I know a lot of Purdue fans would be interested in your story, so I'm glad you're coming on here to share it and give people an update on how you're doing.
Yeah, no problem.
So, I mean, first of all, for people who don't know, just talk a little bit about what you're up to out in Arizona, like you mentioned before we hopped on here.
Okay, well, I'm really from New Jersey, but I'm newly moved to Arizona. I started a med spa out here. I got my laser license, so I can do like laser hair removal, tattoo removal, radio frequency body contouring. So me and my girl, we started like a business out here, and right now we're doing that med spa thing. And we also just started the trucking business, so we got our first box truck, and we're trying to get that on the road. Probably at the beginning of this year coming up, we'll have it on the road. So just a few little businesses we starting out.
That's awesome. I was looking through your Instagram, and that was something that really intrigued me. I was like, what the hell is this? And then I started looking into it.
Yeah.
How'd you find that passion to do that?
I definitely I like to work with people, you know. I like to be like social with people. And my girlfriend, she's an esthetician, and me and her talked about it. She was like, well, you ever thought about doing like tattoo removal and things like that? And I was like, you know, I looked into it and I thought about it, and we just went for it, man. And after we got licensed, we just decided, you know, we start our own business, you know. And the great thing about Arizona, we were living in Florida prior to it, but the great thing about Arizona is not as regulated, so we could start our own like studio right up the back. All we need to do is just meet all the state regulations. A lot of other places you need like an actual nurse or like a surgeon general to be on base the whole time, but in Arizona, luckily you don't. So we decided, you know, this might be a great place to start the business.
Mm-hmm. What's the worst tattoo that you've had to remove?
So
like someone was hammered and got one of them.
Yeah, dude, it's some bad ones. So I won't say the guy's name, but one of my guys, right? He got his wife's name on his butt, and him and his wife are going through like a rough patch, like kind of like a divorce. So he's getting her name removed off, and it's just bad, man. Because every time he's not scared to show me his butt at all. He just comes in like, how's it looking, man? And I'm just like, dude, like, give me a second, like warn me before you flash me. You know what I mean? Like, let's at least like close the curtain. You know what I mean? But that's probably worse. But like, it's a lot of like names. Like I know I got another girl. Her boyfriend's name on her neck. She's getting that removed too. So a lot of name tattoos, man. So if y'all listen to this podcast, do not get people's names on you. All right, it's not a good idea.
No doubt, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, every time.
Well, first of all, I want to say congrats on everything you got going for you right now. It seems awesome. It seems like you guys are really enjoying it too.
Yeah, it's fun, man. You know, we get to work on our own schedule. Our business is actually like inside of our house. Like we got like a 3-floor like building. So our business is actually in the base, like in the bottom floor of our house. So it's super cool. You know, we don't have to drive to work, and it's right on ASU campus too. It's called 354 Hair and Body Med Spa. So it's right on ASU campus. We get a lot of college kids. We give them discounts. So it's cool. It's good to be back in the college atmosphere. You know, be around that type of vibe. You know.
Mm-hmm. And before I forget, tell everyone where you can find the social medias and the website and everything for that.
Yeah. So our social media is 354 Hair and Body Med Spa. So it's the same thing on Instagram and Facebook. And my social media is Beck_the_body. So if you got any needs, if you need any tattoo removal, anything in that field, we definitely can help you out. Or if not, if we can't do it, we can refer you to someone who can.
Mm-hmm. And was it hard for you personally to find something that you're really passionate about outside of football? Because I know there's a lot of people a lot of athletes that, I mean, their playing days are done or whatever the case may be, and they're just like, oh, I'm a football player. I've never really like explored any other parts of life. Was that hard for you to find something that you really were truly passionate about?
No, I wouldn't say so. Just because I think football was it still is a big part of my life, but not my whole life. You know what I mean? Like before I even played football, like I had like jobs. You know, I did things like as a kid to like make money. You know, I was really social. I had friends that weren't on the football team. You know, like that I got along with. So I don't think it was too hard for me. You know, the worst part was just like finding a way to like expend that energy, you know? Like when you're in football, you're constantly at workouts, you're constantly in meetings, you got games, you constantly anticipating something. Then when you're not, it's like, okay, what do I do with all this energy I got, you know? So that probably was a lot more harder than, you know, find something I was passionate about.
Hmm. And have you completely shut the door on football, or are you open to still playing, or what's that situation like?
Dude, I would love to play football if I could get the chance to do it. I last year, I signed a CFL contract,
Mhm.
and right before COVID happened, the CFL didn't have a season, and this upcoming season I was supposed to go out there, but I ended up getting released because the team ended up changing coaches. I was supposed to go to the Edmonton, well, to the Eskimo, well, to Edmonton, and not the Eskimos no more. Supposed to go to Edmonton, then I think they had the coach from the Jaguars. He was supposed to go up there. Then he resigned, but I was one of his guys, so I was supposed to come in with him. Then after he left, they got a whole new coaching thing that I ended up getting released like last March. I think it's last March, I think. But yeah, I'm definitely, you know, I would love to play, man. I love to play football, man. It's a lot of fun, you know, a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people, you build a lot of relationships. So yeah, I would love to play if I could get another opportunity.
Hmm. And I believe the one you're talking about was Mark Trestman, if I'm
Yeah,
remembering.
I think so. Yep.
Um, I mean, have you been looking at any other opportunities? I know like the XFL is coming back in 2023, maybe. The XFL, you got the CFL, obviously like the Arena League, and the Spring League, I know is gaining some traction as well. Have you been looking at any of those possibilities, or are you just kind of sitting back and doing your own thing?
I'm kind of at this point. I'm kind of sitting back and doing my own thing, just because it's just so hard to like keep your body up, you know, with something that just might be, you know what I mean? It's hard when you got a family and, you know, your family's constantly on the ropes. Like, okay, I might be going away. I might be doing this. I might be living somewhere else, you know, opposed to being able to be stable and kind of like build your brand and build your business. Like the more and more I think about it, like, you know, I haven't played, like I've been at college for like a few years now, but and like if you take that time that you know chasing your dream to actually put it into something else within 6 7 years of like a business, you put 7 years in your business, by the eighth year, man, your business will be something by then. You know, it'll be much further along. You'll be you know probably open up another location by then. You know, so sometimes I think about that, but then again, it always comes back to, well, you did that, you chased your dream because that's what you would love. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So it's kind of like you know, love and hate kind of thing. But I think I'm happy where I'm at right now. You know, I needed that to get to where I'm at right now. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that a lot of guys, I don't know if this is true of you, but a lot of guys, they don't get those opportunities that they feel like they deserve, and then they have that kind of resentment
Yeah,
instead of just transferring that energy like you talked about earlier and doing something else with your life.
yeah, yeah. I see that a lot. You know, because a lot of people, a lot of players, just in general, people too, but a lot of players feel like they feel entitled. You know,
Mhm.
they feel like, wow, I went to this school, I did this, my numbers are like this, I could run this fast, so I should be here. But I mean, that's not always true. You know, it's not always about that. You know, sometimes it's about, you know, who you know. You know, a lot of guys make careers off, okay, this is my coach back when I went here. I know his brother's cousin and he gonna give me a shot. You know, it works like that sometimes. Sometimes, you know, just being the hardest worker or being talented is not everything. You know, sometimes you gotta build relationships too, you know?
Mhm. And there's obviously, I mean, there's like you talked about, there's a ton of things that go into it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that, like the guys that you mentioned, would be like guys that, I mean, you're going to be like one of the top guys on your high school team, probably one of the top guys on your college team. And you get to the league and you're a small fish in a big pond, as
Yeah.
they say. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have a hard time dealing with that.
Yeah, definitely a culture shock. It's from being the best to being one of the best guys. Then when you get to the NFL level, when it's like, okay, this guy could do everything you could do. Plus, I got a better relationship with him. I'm gonna take him. You might be a little bit better than him, but I know him. You know what I mean? So sometimes it works like that. But yeah, I see a lot of guys still have like a little resentment towards the game, even from like not even college, dude, from like high school. Like I know guys like still like the coach didn't like me, man. I would have been in the NFL. Like guys like that still to this day. You know what I mean? So it's just it's just like that with sports, man.
Those people crack me up.
Oh my God, it's so bad. Dude. Like I got people I can talk to today who still reminisce about like being a man in high school and talk about, man, if the coach would have given me one more carry that game, I would have had 1,000 yards. Like, dude, that was like 2007. Like, come on, man. Like, give it up.
Yeah. I just think people that try to live back their glory days in high school and all that stuff, it's kind of sad, honestly, but it's also really funny.
Yeah, a lot of those people, sad to say, a lot of those people who live in the past like that, they really don't like their future or where their life heading at that moment, so they try to always live back in the past like, damn, man, I was this, or I had this girl or this and that. They want to live in the past, when their future not, where they wanted to be,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the future is scary, though, honestly, for a lot of people. I mean, like, I'm not saying this is those people specifically, but a lot of people like don't want to take those chances to venture out and do something different. So then the future is like, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I mean, for any of us, I mean, your life can change like that.
Yeah. Second. Yeah. And that's the number one cause of anxiety, not knowing, the unknown. That's what causes anxiety. People not knowing. People would rather, be in a situation. It might not be the greatest situation, but they're comfortable. Mm-hmm. Opposed to going out there and taking a chance and being out of their element, and that causes them anxiety. They'd rather just be comfortable,
Mm-hmm. I think we've seen a ton of people come out and be vocal, especially athletes and entertainers or celebrities or whatever the case may be, and like talk about anxiety and like the fears that they have and their depression and things like that. Yeah. I mean, I think that's something that I don't know if we will ever be able to talk about enough, but I mean, it is pretty. It's nice to know that people are at least talking about it, that have that platform and can speak on it.
Yeah, man, it's really like it's kind of like it's almost sad, you know what I mean? Because when you're an athlete, it's like you got to put on this persona, like, man, don't nothing bother me, emotionless. I'm a silent killer. I play football, basketball, and nothing bothers me. But you can't really talk about people about you being worried or doubts you're having or just anything going on in your life, because it kind of looks like a weakness. Mm-hmm. In the sports world, we rah, I'm the man, I can't show no weakness. So a lot of times when you're an athlete, you got to hold that stuff in, and you can't project it, you can't get it out. You can't tell your girl you're nervous about this game on Saturday night. She's gonna be like, oh, I want somebody who ain't. You know what I mean? You can't tell your parents that shit. Your parents would be like, well, you need to get ready, you know what I mean? They're not trying to hear that, you know what I mean? So it's really kind of hard, man. Like it is hard for athletes, especially like I can imagine with how much pressure the guys got going on nowadays when they get you can make money, like imagine playing with a guy like making $100,000 that's on your team, and you on the same team as him, and you ain't making nothing. Mm-hmm. Like imagine that pressure. Like, man, that gotta be tough, man. So,
is that something that you had to deal with throughout your career? I mean, from high school to college to the pro level at all?
Not really. Like I never really like looked into it too much, because like when you pro, everybody getting paid on a different level, you know what I mean? But now I feel like now that they introduced it to the college, and that's where it could be kind of sticky, because there's just so many levels to it. You got some people in college who are celebrities. You got guys from college football that's verified. You got high school kids that's coming in as recruits that are verified on social media already. Mm. And like opposed to, you got guys that might be on a high school team that you never heard of these people. You know what I mean? So it's definitely like a big gap in, just what people, could potentially get to, with some people that probably won't ever, earn half as much as they making, But I mean, I'm all for it though. I like that they're paying these guys. They really should pay them. I'm all for that.
Well, first of all, my apology. I was asking about the anxiety aspect, but I'm glad you brought this up. Actually, I mean, for you now, you're getting into kind of the entrepreneurship and building your own brands and things like that. How much do you think that the NIL would have helped you and like some of your other teammates around your years in college?
Yeah, it would have helped a lot, man. Because a lot of like now thinking about a lot of the guys like we didn't have no money. We didn't have no money. We had to scrape up, a little bit of money to go out, to have gas money, to go. Like we wanted to go to a party, we had to throw together $20 to have gas. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys did things for money that might have got them in trouble that they probably wouldn't have to do. I knew guys who sold drugs and things like that just to get by in college. Opposed to people coming up now like, okay, well, if I don't gotta take this risk to make money, I'm getting it 100% legally. I don't got nothing to worry about. I could put all my 100% focus in football and academics, opposed to, well, I need to go do this to make money. I don't got to worry about that aspect now because, y'all covering that for me. I got some money. Sometimes your mom might call you, say, I need some money. I knew guys like that. I knew guys that I played with where their family would call them, like, bills, we need money. The bills are due. You got your Pell Grant check, you got your financial aid check, and they were sending their people money. So I know it got to be a good feeling not to have to do that no more, man, and just be able to, just worried about football or sports, your sports you have to play with, your academics. Financial problems, nothing you worried about. You don't got to worry about that.
100%. That'd be a really tough position to be in.
Yeah.
And especially in college athletics at like the high D1 level, there's a lot of kids that don't have a whole lot growing up and they make it out of those poor conditions that they're living in, and their families counting on them to provide for them and give them some sort of hope.
Yeah, and that's where anxiety comes from, the pressure. You got your mom at home and she like, man, Dewayne is the best thing since sliced bread, telling all her friends, the whole community that, you know what I mean? And you at school and you like, well, damn, I can't let them down. I can't let my coach down. I can't let my sisters down. You know what I mean? And that's what anxiety sets in, where you feel that pressure, where you feel like, well, I gotta be great. I gotta be good. I gotta be accepted. My coaches gotta love me, And sometimes it's just with everything at once, it's really hard for people to juggle. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you look at, all over in all walks of life, people are juggling all sorts of things. And then, for you guys, collegiate athletes, you guys are expected to perform on the field or the court, take care of your academics, and be in the public light at the same time.
Yep.
Especially, I don't know how much you dealt with it with social media when you were playing, but now, I feel like if you're like, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, like Quinn Edwards, the kid that just transferred from Ohio State to Texas. He's getting ripped on all up and down social media. That's something that you have to take into account too when you think of that whole anxiety and depression and everything like that.
Yeah, it is tough, man, because you really can't be yourself on social media, because you actually, you're basically like a celebrity in a small town, and it's like these kids, they're not taught they're not media trained, like professionally media trained. A lot of them become stars overnight. If you have a great spring ball game and you're a high recruit, the next minute you the man now. You wouldn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
You could be saying whatever you want on social media yesterday, but now you saying, a rap lyric with some curses in it, and they like, okay, this guy's a maniac. You know what I mean? Like, just like that, man. So it's really tough for these guys now. Before it was kind of bad, but now, it's a lot more spotlights, a lot more money getting exchanged. So it's a lot harder, I would think now, just especially with social media, man. It's tough, man.
Yeah, and then even like you can make a SportsCenter top 10 play, and they put that Instagram username in there, and then you're like Jordan McCabe. He plays for West Virginia. He was like a social media superstar or whatever. There's another kid, I forget his name. He has like real curly hair. I think he plays for Liberty. He's got like 2 million followers or something crazy like that, and like he barely plays on Liberty.
Life changing, like
insane,
life changing stuff. And I mean, it's crazy, man. And now it's like the spotlight on him. He don't even get on the field like that, you know. So it's like, okay, where do you go from there, you know? So, you know, he might not even be a great football player, like a great player. He might make some great plays and get it on, you know, top 10. And now you just got all that, you know, all that attention on you, you know.
And you get all that hype and it goes to your head, and I mean, we see how that goes sometimes. But yeah, I really wish that you guys would have got that NIL stuff. I mean, you could rattle off probably 100 things that you could have done, especially at Purdue. Just like, oh yeah, Mad Mush, they're gonna throw some change. Harry, Salt. I mean, all these different things that you guys could have got.
Yeah, man. Like I was talking to my friend Eric Mebe. Me and him were really close. He played when I played there, and we was talking about like, imagine playing there now. Imagine getting a sponsorship to Love Shack. I'm like, yeah, man, that'd be sick, man. Like, I really feel like man, I'm excited for these guys to be able to really do something, you know, because a lot of the guys, probably some of the guys make it pro, some of them won't. But even if they don't, now that they got that platform, you know, where they could be, you know, social media famous, they would still be able to get work after football. You know, some guys would be, you know, they could be able to host things, they'd be able to start their business. But as long as you got some type of social media presence, I think people will feel a lot more comfortable. Like, okay, let's get so-and-so in here. He can host this event. You know what I mean? And like little things like that really go a long way, because you never know. That might lead into public speaking. That might lead into, you know, you meeting your next business partner. So I'm glad that, you know, that's the direction it's going in.
Yeah, and then they can also parlay that into like starting a YouTube channel, a podcast. Yeah. I know tons of athletes that are doing that now, and like just creating content, get your name out there, and then I mean you might make more off that than you will playing football or basketball.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Especially if you know you're just as passionate as you were with your sports. You know, put it into that podcast. You know, so
yeah, 100%. So I want to talk about when you first got to Purdue. What was that transition like, going from high school ball in New Jersey to Big Ten football?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference probably maybe the size of the players. You know, we definitely went to get some bigger guys. I wouldn't say for me, I never felt like the game was that much faster. Like, I didn't feel like it was moving faster. Like I hear a lot of people say that, but I definitely feel like the athletes you're dealing with are much bigger. Like in high school, you might have like a 200-pound running back, and they saying he a power back. But then you go play, you know, you playing at Purdue, and you playing Wisconsin, and you know you got John Clay, and he's 240 pounds. You know what I mean? And like that's a power back. You know, running in front of a line where everyone's 320 pounds plus. You know, 315 and up. You know, so that probably the biggest transition, just the size. You know, I always felt like I was like physically prepared, but after my first year, I realized that I need to really, really work on my explosiveness and my strength, just so I can, you know, be able to take on these big blocks, you know, and shed them and still make a tackle. That was probably the hardest thing for me transitioning. You know, high school was like no one's really blocking. You just rip your shoulder, make a tackle, rip, you know, two gap a guy, get him off, you make a tackle. But in Big Ten, you're not gonna be doing it like that. Some guys can, but when I first came, I definitely couldn't do it like that at all.
What was that like to go up against Wisconsin, who's like known for their run game? I mean, Jesus, they're running back you damn near.
Yeah, they are, man.
I mean,
we played against some, man. We played against John Clay. Next year we had Monty Ball. Then next year they had James White. The year John Clay played, I'm pretty sure all three of them had, like, the year John Clay was the man, I'm pretty sure all three of those guys had 1,000 yards, and they were the backup. So yeah, it was tough playing against those guys though, man. Like I love to play against them. I love, you know, I was a linebacker, so I love playing against the run. But when they would run their power play, it would feel like a gate swinging, you know. And like if you got caught up in that gate, if you didn't miss the gate, you know, if you got caught up in that wash, you were not making that tackle. Like you had to completely avoid the wash. Then after you avoid the wash, right there, it's a fullback coming at you. Then you got the running back right behind him. So yeah, it was tough, man. It was tough.
Now, I mean, the answer to this question might be Wisconsin. Who do you think was the toughest team that you played against in terms of getting to those tackles and game planning as far as the run game goes?
Um, I remember. So I remember we played against. I remember we played against Michigan one year at home, and they had no, they were home. We played at Ann Arbor, and they had this is when they had Denard Robinson, and they had Toussaint, the running back.
Mm-hmm.
And the week before that, I think we played Ohio State, and they were running. Ohio State was running the ISO play, right? And every time they run the ISO play, I was knocking it out. I was knocking the fullback out, like meeting them right in the hole, knocking them right out. And Michigan must have seen that and was like, okay, number 3, as soon as he sees that linebacker the fullback coming out, he's meeting him right in the hole. So what they did was they would have the fullback do like a dive motion, but have the running back bounce it every time. And that was just throwing me off the whole game, because I'm just like, the ball is going where the fullback is going. Then the ball is going right in the middle, running back just bouncing it every time, dude. It was just killing me, dog. It was killing me, man. It was really good scheming, though. It was really good scheming, because when I sat back and looked at it, I was like, man, they just game playing the shit out of me. Like, they just watched me and said, okay, we're gonna take him out of play just like this, and it worked.
Mm-hmm. That's something that not a casual fan, but like someone who just enjoys watching football, but they don't have like that knowledge. That's what we love to hear, because I never really played football, if I'm being quite honest. So like hearing those things and like getting that understanding, you're like, oh, okay, so that's why we weren't able to stop Wisconsin or Michigan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of fans don't take the time to like look at that or listen to what actually is going on.
Yeah, definitely, man. That was one of the keys that like as a linebacker, coaches always kind of like instill into your head. And I always remember it. And it's usually true to this day. Wherever the fullback is going, the ball is going to go. Like, next time you watch a football game, watch it. Once you see that fullback, even if they line up like with the fullback, like right behind the tight end, watch where the fullback at, and the ball usually goes right where he's going. He might come across, but the ball might come right back that way. And it's weird once you start realizing, like, oh, that's what they're doing,
Yeah. And then how fun was it to be alongside, tons of NFL talent like you, Quan, Short, Kerrigan, Joe Holland, who I had on the podcast recently, shout out, Mike Neal, Ricardo Allen. There's a ton of talent on those defenses. How fun was it to be a part of those defenses?
Oh, it was great, man. It was great to be around those guys and just get a lot of knowledge, and just to, listen to what they had to say, and just the camaraderie. That's the best thing I got from just playing football. Just the camaraderie I met, the relationships I built with people. I remember being out there like Joe Holland and Ricardo, like vividly remember talking to them, like, okay, like calling out like bad strike, calling out plays and everything, dude. So it was amazing, man. Like I talk to all those guys still to this day. I talked to Ricardo, I talked to Josh Johnson, Mike Rouse, all those dudes, man. And like, yeah, you can see, like, I think we all still, pretty tight. Like I seen John Finch, our long snapper. Like I talk to him all the time. I talked to Ballinger. And I see them in pictures, I always see Joe Holland, Kerrigan, Mondek hanging out, like Danny Durkin, and I love to see it, like those guys are like family, man. Like I really enjoy playing with them. That was the best thing I got from Purdue.
A lot of those guys around that time frame seem like they're really close.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like specific to your guys' time frame, but it just feels like those guys are a lot closer than other eras were, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so. I think coming like the way those guys came in, like all of those guys, they came in before Coach Hope came in. So they kind of had that bond with Coach, as Coach Tiller's class, like some of his last classes. Then kind of when Coach Hope recruits came in, then we kind of meshed with them. You know what I mean? But I definitely think the bond is really, really close. Like, like we all still like connected on social media. Like I see, they have weddings, baby pictures of, you see us under each other comments. Like it's dope, man. It's like a fraternity almost, man. It's dope.
I've never heard someone refer to it as a fraternity. That's a pretty good analogy though, especially with Purdue. I feel like I was recently talking to Derek Schultz about this. I mean, he was like, I mean, typically Purdue fans are people that went to Purdue. And I feel like it's just like there's not that national like casual fan that is a Purdue fan. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I agree. Like you would never just see like someone just with a Purdue like pull over a fleece. Like if they have a Purdue something, they probably went to Purdue. Like you'll see guys with Duke gear, Kentucky, Alabama, Ohio State, and they just could be from anywhere. But if you see somebody with like some Boilermaker gear, like they probably went to Purdue or maybe had someone who went to Purdue that's close to them, you know. And I think, but I think that's cool because I think it makes it, you know, a lot more like what is it, you know, organic, like real. You know what I mean? Like if you like Purdue, if you're a Purdue fan, you really probably a Purdue fan. Like you probably know something, you probably seen something that made you like, wow, I like these guys. You know what I mean? Opposed to like people just like Ohio State, you know, just like, well, I'm from Cleveland, so, you know, like if you from Indianapolis, like you might not like Purdue at all, you know what I mean? But if you probably in Ohio, you from Akron, you from Cleveland, you like, well, Ohio State's my team, you know?
One of my friends, his name's Anthony Nail, shout out to him, but he's an Ohio State fan, and he was chirping me when we lost to them this year. And I was like, name 3 people on Ohio State.
Yeah, exactly.
He couldn't name one. I swear to you, he couldn't name one. And I was like, shut up, bro. Get out of my face.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah. People just fall in love with the name, dude. It's okay, though. We got them next year.
Yeah, no doubt. I talked with Joe about this too recently. How hard was it for you guys just knowing all the talent you guys had and the potential and not really able to translate that into consistent success?
Yeah. It was very frustrating, man, because you know, I felt like we had good talent. Like I always felt like Purdue always had like middle to upper talent in the Big Ten. Like I think like Ohio State gonna probably get the best guys, Michigan will probably get, you know, some good guys. Then you got like, you know, the rest of us. You know, I think Purdue kind of fit like right there, like maybe like right after Wisconsin. You know what I mean? And I feel like we should have been at least like 3rd or 4th. You know, I think we get similar talent to like Michigan State. You know, so I think we should have been, you know, like at least like 3 or 4 in the Big Ten. It was just frustrating that, you know, we could never really put it together where we could get like a 9-win season or, you know, mess around and get 10 wins. We will always drop a game that we shouldn't drop at all, then win a game that we shouldn't win. You know, like I think the same year we beat Ohio State at home, I think we might have lost to like Northern Illinois or Northwestern at home that same year. You know what I mean? So that was really frustrating part because we know we could do it. Like why we could go out here and play with, you know, and at the time when we beat Ohio State, they might have been like number 1 or like 7. They might have been like 7 in the country. They were really good that year. They had Terrell Pryor. They were really good that year. You know, after they lost, I think LeBron called Terrell Pryor like, yeah, we got you with that one. But yeah, it was really frustrating, man. Because we knew we were good enough, you know, just little things, you know, attention to details, you know, like a muff punt of special teams or a fumble snap, you know, just change the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then the parity in college football, especially this year, or college sports in general. I mean, you see how many teams are losing in college basketball this year.
Yeah.
I mean, there's four different number 1 teams in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And obviously Purdue is one of those and fell to Rutgers, which sucked. But yeah, I mean, the parity in college football is getting up there because this year we didn't have. I mean, you had Georgia and Bama, and then you had Michigan kind of rise up and overtake Ohio State, and then you had who's the 4th team? Cincinnati.
I don't know.
Then after that, it was kind of like they're all bunched up together.
Yeah. Yeah, it could definitely be anyone. This year, I feel like that last year with COVID kind of shook up college football a lot. Mm-hmm. You know, like some guys who weren't really like teams that are not supposed to be that good kind of snuck in, and some teams kind of like, you know, fell a little bit. But like even with like, you know, Alabama gonna get some stuff every year. Georgia should get some studs every year. So those like some mainstays. But I was really surprised that Michigan beat Ohio State. I don't think Michigan would have beat Ohio State if it was just like a normal field. I think the field, like the snow, really benefited Michigan. You know, with their play style. You know, they want to run the ball, and I think that really benefited them in that game. Mm-hmm. Like on another day, I don't think they could do it again. I don't think they could beat Ohio State again.
Yeah, I was favoring Ohio State heavy in that game. I do like to see John Harbaugh have a little bit of success though, for how much hate he gets, and I mean he seems like a good dude. I don't have any.
Yeah, I like him, man. I like Harbaugh. You know, I like him. He really seemed like a player's coach. You know, he like and he always does something like really like good for the community. You know, the school and stuff like that. Like I think he used his check to like pay like some of the people at Michigan who weren't getting like full wages because of COVID. So he always does something dope. So I really like Harbaugh a lot.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, from your time in the Big Ten, what was your favorite opposing stadium to go play in? Like that was either like the rowdiest or you guys had the most success or whatever the case may be.
Man, that's tough, man. I love playing. I love playing home, but I did definitely like playing on the road. I think one of my favorite games where we lost this game, but we went up to Happy Valley, right? And this is right after that Sandusky scandal. Mm-hmm. All that stuff was going on. So we like, oh my God, dude, like it's gonna be hot up there. And we got there, man, and the fans were louder than ever. Like they were locked in, dude. The fans were talking to us. They was like, I think they scored a touchdown. They were like, how's your ass feel? Like screaming down on us, chirping at us, man. I'm like, yeah, man, we got to hurry up and get out of here, man. It's hostile. So I think Happy Valley was really fun. Ann Arbor, I love playing there. I remember one year we played there and the guy came down with a jetpack to deliver the game ball. So that was really cool. That was really dope. But yeah, I mean, away games are always fun, man. We get to travel with your family, you know, and go on a business trip with your family. So it was always, a good experience.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people always say like, oh, SEC football is just different and everything like that. I mean, obviously football in the South is huge, but I mean, there's something special about those Big Ten environments that not a lot of people really realize.
Yeah, I feel like Big Ten is like, is more close to like NFL, like pro style football. Mm-hmm. You know, like the guys that's going to the Big Ten, like coming from the Big Ten NFL, those guys are playing. You know, those guys are already, a lot of those guys are already NFL already. Like Kerrigan came out and Kerrigan's played like 99% of the snaps for the Redskins for the next 8, 7, 9 years. Like that dude was an NFL player 2 years ago because he was already built for it. You know, he already played against Iowa. He already played against, people lined up in pro style offensive, the whole game. So the Big Ten's got a whole different vibe, man. I really think it's like NFL pro football. You know, a lot of SEC guys come out of there. Those guys are spreading it out a lot more. In the Big Ten, you're gonna get some eye form, some strong eye. You can get some double tight end sets. You're gonna get some real funky sets, man. And just the atmosphere out there. It's nothing like being, in Iowa in the middle of October. Where it's just a brisk wind, 50 degrees, like it's dope, man. It's just football weather, man. It's beautiful, man.
Talking about another guy that's probably going to the league. I mean, at this point, he's probably going to be a top 10 pick is George Karlaftis. I mean, what did you take away from his kind of career at Purdue, and how do you think he'll fare at the next level?
I think he'd be really good. Because he already got that NFL type body, he looks like he's really developed. Some guys, they have like good size, they be tall, but they won't really have that thickness to them, where they could take on blocks and handle it down for down. A lot of guys, they be strong, but they're not in good physical shape where they can't last the whole season in the NFL. I think he'll be good because he got a lot of muscle and he's not really like a speed guy. He's like a really solid defensive end. Like he has moves. He can get past them. He can play the run. So I think I hate to say it, he remind me of Kerrigan. You know what I mean? Just with the moves he does. Kerrigan used to have the best rip move I ever seen, dude. And it was just so consistent. Kerrigan would come down and just rip up. And every time you see he got that arm up, he's getting sacked. Like if he get it past you and he just dipping it and ripping it so hard, dude. And like man, dude, it was beautiful. Like Kerrigan knew that move, and I see him do it kind of too. I see him, chop, rip, and bend in the corner. And like when I see him, I'm like, he kind of reminds me of Kerrigan.
Mm-hmm. I think he can move. I think he can move around on the line too. You put him inside in some sets, and obviously just let him go after the passer and others. I mean, what was it like to be with? I mean, two guys that were some of my favorites were Quan Short and Ricardo Allen. What was it like to play with those guys as well?
It was fun, man. Kawan was a great dude, man. When I first met KK, I was just like, yo, how old is this dude, man? He was like, man, he's just a year older than you. I'm like, really? Like, oh my God. Like we were in the same class, like initially when I first came. So I was like, wow, man. Like KK was 300 pounds, but he could dunk a basketball. Like off the vertical, dude, like shoot threes. I'm like, yo, who is this guy, man? And it's like, it was like, for him, he make it look so easy, like he wasn't even trying. So once he finally, like when we was at Purdue and like I watched him grow and get stronger and really, really go in the weight room and start going in, I seen it before my eyes. I'm like, this dude first round pick, like this dude going to NFL, like great player, man. And he does it easy, like KK can play anywhere, anywhere he wants to in the country, without even like lifting a weight. Some guys just like that, man. Like he was just like that. And when it comes to Ricardo, I seen Ricardo like on days where like I would go, like it'd be Friday night. We would all go out on Friday night, do our thing, go to parties. Saturday morning, Ricardo like, yo, y'all want to go catch some passes, do some drills? We all like, nah. Ricardo was there every Saturday. He was doing it. He was there. Like that's one person I seen like that hard work, like constantly work on your craft, constantly doing your drills, your footwork drills, catching balls. Like I seen him do this like consistently. No one had to tell Ricardo to go work out or do this. Ricardo did all that on his own. And he would constantly ask you, yo, you want to get some work in? You want to get some work in? Yeah, I'll come maybe. Nah, yeah, okay. He was going regardless, whoever was going with him or any of that. So yeah, man, Ricardo was a great guy, man. He came in as a true freshman, and initially when he came in, he was like maybe like a 1A, like a 2. Mm-hmm. About like going into playing Notre Dame. So like that's you know what I mean? Like think about that, dude. He came out of high school a few months later, came to camp in August, started against Notre Dame the end of the month. True freshman.
He's a dog.
Animal, dude. Animal, man. I love Ricardo, man. That's one of the most like powerful pound for pound people I ever seen. But he's not a huge dude. Like Ricardo's like maybe about 5'10", maybe 195, 185, but powerful. Like power clean, like a ton of weight, like powerful dude. Never seen him back down. It was one play. I can remember at Notre Dame. Sorry for rambling, man. But
you're good. You're good. Keep going.
Okay, yeah. So it was one play at Notre Dame, right? And I was a sophomore, he was a freshman. And I wasn't in the nickel package. They took me out the nickel package. So it was a third down, and he was the nickel back. So they put him in. And I'm like, sheesh, man, I want to play on third downs, man. I definitely can help. I think it was Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph ran like an out route and came up, and Ricardo met him right at the line of scrimmage. And nailed him right in his knees. I was like, that's why. That's why, man. I don't know if I can do it like that. Like that's exactly why.
Mm-hmm. And he's
the dog, man.
He's been playing safety in the league. I think he's with the Bengals now, but he was really good with the Falcons. He had a couple like Pro Bowl type years, and then he has dealt with some injuries, which kind of just comes with his size and the way he plays and everything like that. But yeah, he's a dog.
Yeah, animal, dude. That dude is an animal, man. And now he's just such a like with people like that, like whatever they put their hands on, it'll turn to gold just because they're constantly putting the work in. Like Ricardo posts like now he posts like a lot of shit about like stocks, crypto constantly, the money he's making off of that. And I'm like, man, whatever Ricardo really want to do, if he want to do it, he can. I believe it. I believe it.
Mm-hmm. I think he does a lot of work with his wife for charity. I'd have to go back and look and see
Yeah, I think they do.
specifically what it is, but I mean, yeah, he's an all around great dude.
Yeah, man. I like the Crawford a lot.
I know we're getting close on time. Before I let you go, obviously you self-admittedly you've been through some things at Purdue, so I want to talk a little bit about that. Was your time at Purdue kind of bittersweet, just because of how things ended?
I would say I wouldn't say that. I think it was a good experience overall. You know, everything that happened at Purdue, even like my legal trouble, even my stuff like getting in trouble with the team, it was self-inflicted. You know, like the team, like man, Purdue showed me so much love. Like now that I look back at it, I'm like, man, it was you. You know, you were doing wrong. You know, you weren't doing the right thing, man. Like you weren't taking responsibility for yourself. You know, I would get in trouble, and I would still play. You know, like they really they really embraced me. They would say, okay, Dewayne, you can't keep doing this. We got to do this. You got to do better, and give me chance after chance after chance after chance. Till at one point, you know, you got to look at how it looks on the outside. Like, okay, well, Dewayne gets in trouble. You know, got in trouble 4 or 5 different times, and you still got him on the team. But then you look at somebody else who might have not have played or might have been, you know, a smaller piece to the puzzle, and they get rid of them. You know, so it really looks bad. And I had to look at it like that, like, man, it's really your fault, you know. And from there, I had to just, you know, just man up, you know. That's one thing I would say I definitely got from there. I definitely made me grow up, you know, because if I would have been able to go straight from Purdue doing the things I was doing and, you know, my actions and went to the NFL and just being the same person with that type of money, you know, it wouldn't have ended well. You know, I would have been in. I think I would probably end up in a bad position because I wasn't mature enough. You know, I definitely was immature. You know, when I first came to Purdue, I was 17. You know, I was young, I was a little bit younger than everybody, but I hung out with a lot of the older guys. So me being who I am, I'm like, well, I could do what they do. This is what I've been doing. I've been doing this type of stuff at Purdue. We've been going out. We've been drinking. We've been, you know, partying. We've been doing this. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, it was time for me to realize, like, okay, you're not an Irvington no more. You know what I mean? You're a Big Ten athlete. You know what I mean? You gotta take responsibility what you're doing if you want to get to where you want to be. And I definitely didn't do that. I was like, well, I'm gonna do what I want to do because I could do it. You know, and a lot of that comes with, I think, just, you know, the immaturity came with just a little bit of anxiety too. You know, because sometimes I felt like I had to make it for my family, you know. But then I had a little bit of resentment because my family lived in New Jersey and they couldn't always come out to my game. They couldn't always give me money and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I felt some sort of resentment to the point where it was just like, well, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Nobody don't care what I'm doing. Nobody not here for me. You know what I mean? And with that mindset, it put me in a bad place where it was just like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. You know, so I wouldn't say it's bittersweet. I think I learned some really, really good lessons from that. And, you know, not to mention the people I met, but just for myself personally, you know, I definitely learned a lot, you know, definitely helped me today.
And when you were in the midst of getting in trouble and things like that, I mean, what was going through your head? And then what was that moment where you were like, all right, this is done. We're making a complete 180.
Yeah. So at the time when it's happening, you know, I'm not really thinking about the consequences. You know, I'm just thinking about, okay, I just got to get out of this next jam so I can get to this game next week. You know, as long as I play good against, you know, Illinois this week, everything will be forgiven. You know, so it was a week where, like, I think I had like what did I have? I think I had like maybe like a driving while suspended, but I missed my court date. And they served the warrant and came arresting me at practice like on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So I got bailed out of jail that Friday night, went to the game on Saturday. I didn't start, but still finished the game with like 9 tackles and a tackle for loss. You know what I mean? So it's just like everything was my focus. Like, well, I just gotta play good. I play good. Don't worry about everything else. Everything will be all right. But at the same time, it's like, nah, you got to take care of your business, man. Like, if you get a ticket, you got to pay your ticket. If you're supposed to be in a court day, you got to come to your court day because they will, you know, they're not going to just let you do whatever you want to do. And even with that being said, I feel like they were being real lenient with me because I was an athlete. You know, they weren't just like they could take you to jail and not be cool with you. You know what I mean? Like they would take you to jail and just, okay, we gotta arrest you, but we're gonna let you right out. You know, we're gonna let you on your own recognizance, you know, without a bond, you know, and that would happen. And I would take that like, yeah, I'm the man. You know what I mean? Opposed to being like, okay, they're giving me a chance. I need to do the right thing, you know? So it's just a lot of immaturity, you know? But I think the one thing that made me do a complete 180 is when I finally got you know, released from the team. You know, like after everything I done been through, you know, I'm like, okay, I just need to get out of this, get out of trouble this one more time, and I'll change it. And I thought I was gonna be able to, you know, but then I went to Coach Hope's office and we spoke to him, and I was like, well, is there any chance I get back on the team? He was like, no, you're done. And after that, you know, I felt this small, you know what I mean? Because this is like, wow, I thought I was untouchable up to this point, you know. And he told me that I was done. I was like, well, I felt my world crashing down. Cause like, well, what I'm gonna do now? You know, can I transfer? Should I transfer? Should I just try to declare for the draft? Like, what should I do? So that's when I definitely felt I definitely felt the weight of everything I was doing just kind of crash down on me, and I knew I had to, you know, change who I was.
Mm-hmm. I remember reading, I think it was Greg Doyle's story about you getting arrested at practice at Marian. How many times did you get arrested at practice? Because I mean, you said you had I think the first time was at Purdue.
Yeah. The second time was at Marian.
Yeah.
So at Marian, I think I didn't show up for a court date, and no, I had to pay a fine. I didn't pay my fine, and they came to arrest me, but it was from the city of Lafayette. So it's like, I moved to Marian, trying to move away, but they pulled me for like I'm not sure. I think it was a fine or something. I didn't pay something, and they came to arrest me at Marian. And this is maybe 3 years later, because I got released from Purdue in 2012, I think, and it took me a while to get my transcripts because I had to pay out of pocket my transcripts from Purdue. They wouldn't release my transcripts. So it took me about maybe a year and a half. I had to pay like a year, like tuition to get my transcript out. Yeah.
And I mean, what were your teammates doing around that time were they like sitting you down and talking to you like, Dewayne, we need to fix this, or I don't want to say enabling you, but like what was your teammates' reactions, especially at Purdue?
You know, sometimes they would kind of like, you know, talk to me a little bit, but I felt like because who I was, you know, it's kind of hard to talk to, you know, somebody like me, you know what I mean? Or like tell me what I should do and what I shouldn't do, you know, because, you know, I feel like they probably felt like at the end of the day, Dewayne gonna do what he want to do, you know. And I told them that, you know, I would tell my friends that, like, it'd be nice where I'd be like, they say we'd be driving and they'd be like, yo, slow down. I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna do what I want to do. You know, I would tell them that, you know, like literally like, nah, dog, I'm gonna do it how I want to do it. You know what I mean? So like they would talk to me, but the way I was, man, I'm very stubborn, you know, and you know, I would be the same way with my friends, you know, like I would tell my friends like, okay, dog, like you gotta chill, you can't do that. But at a certain point, I'm not gonna keep sitting you down and telling you this and that. Like I'm gonna let you gotta do your thing, you gotta learn for yourself, you know? And I think that kind of happened, you know, like people tell me like, yo, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm gonna do it like this, like, you know, whatever I wanna do, you know?
And I don't want to keep asking about this like super long.
No, I actually do. I like this. I need to get this off my chest, man. This is good.
a little therapy session here.
You do this on every Saturday, dude.
I mean, what were some things that really helped you? I mean, after you kind of went through that time of like, I feel like it would be similar to shock. Like you get dismissed from the team and your whole world's crashing down. What were some of the things that really helped you, I mean, move past that and get things going again?
My family, you know, my family, my friends. You know, I never really realized like how important it is to be around your friends and your family. You know, when I started getting in trouble, I started being really isolated. You know, my friends would be like, yo, you want to come hang out? I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go to my room and do this, do whatever, you know, do what I want to do. You know, I was really isolated. I didn't really hang around the team too much. You know, I was kind of by myself. Then I got leading up to me getting kicked off the team, I had to move off campus. I couldn't stay on campus for a while. So I was really isolated. You know, I was really away from everybody else. I had to go to like online school, you know, for that semester. So I think what really helped me was being around my family. You know, my mom helped me a lot. My dad helped me a lot. You know, just being around them. And I never realized this. You know, like I was in a miserable place. You know, like at some points at Purdue, just every week is just kind of mundane. You go to practice, playing a game. Go to practice, playing a game. You know, you're not seeing your family. You're not seeing your loved ones. It's kind of just like it kind of was like depressing. You know, and like. Then after everything kind of crashed down, my mom came out to Indiana and stayed with me for a while. So that helped me a lot. Just being around my family, talking to them, and just having somebody there for you. You know, like it'd be nights where we would lose games, and I would be crying tears. But it's like, who can I cry in front of? You know, who can I give this to? You know, who can I give this energy to? You know, I can't cry in front of my teammates. You know, I can't have them see me crying. You know, I can call my mom over the phone, but she's not physically here with me. You know, so I think a lot of that it would have just been a lot better if I could have had like a little bit more family just around me, you know, doing everything was happening.
And do you think that that's why? I mean, it seems like you were going through some things just personally in your own head. I mean, whatever the case may be, the depressive states or whatever. Do you think that's why you kind of just went wild off the field and had a good time? It sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it has something to do with that. You know, some of it was just like immaturity. You know, definitely a lot of it was immaturity. I would say that. But at some point, you know, I was being impulsive because I was like, man, you know, F it, man. Like nobody worried, you know, nobody care. You know, nobody come to see me. Nobody care. You know, it hurts your feelings a little bit to go to be at the games and you see everybody else with their family, you know, good game, everybody hugging, you know, your family take you out to eat before the game, and you don't see your family, you know. And I wasn't mature enough to understand like your family live 13 hours away. Like they might not be able to make it to every game. Like that's okay. Like call your mom. It's all right. You know what I mean? But I was just like, nah, man, like nobody care about me. Like, you know, like getting in my own head about it to the point where it would upset me. Opposed to like being mature and being like, just call your mom, call your family, talk to your friends, you know, open up. You know, holding all that stuff in definitely affected, you know, how I acted, you know?
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with people kind of falling under that victim mindset. I mean, I'm guilty of it as well. I feel like a lot of people are. It takes a while to snap out of that and realize the mistakes in your thinking or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
When you see guys get in trouble now, I mean, whether it be at Purdue or somewhere else, I mean, what do you think about?
I just think about a lot of times, you know, guys are coming from, you know, different situations, you know, like in when I came up in Irvington, New Jersey, so like for us to be like drinking and like smoking weed like in like a junior in high school, like that's not taboo, you know. But then you go to a place like Indiana, where like smoking weed to get you put in jail for 5 years, you know what I mean? So it's like a culture shock, you know what I mean? Like us, like me drinking at like 16 or 17 was just like, okay, but in Indiana, you walking around drinking, you're gonna get a PI, they're gonna put you in jail, you know? So just I think those guys are just, you know, they coming from a different place and kind of think like some of the things that they've been doing or how they've been acting is acceptable where they at, where, you know, it's a whole different culture where you at now, you know? Like that's kind of like frowned upon what you're doing, you know what I mean? And a lot of other things too, you know, could be money related, like we talked about earlier, you know? Sometimes these guys just want things, you know, want items, you know, guys go places and steal things just because they want it, because they don't got the funds to get it. You know, you might go and walk out on a tab because you don't got the money, opposed to now where you might say, okay, well, I got the money for it. I'll pay and leave a tip. You know, like I remember days when like, yo, like we were like scraping up money together. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I got 20 for this. I'll pay for this today. I'll buy the ground beef. You buy the spaghetti. You know what I mean? Like, and collaborating on meals. You know what I mean? So I think that's a lot of times that's what it is. Just immaturity and not knowing, you know, how you should act socially. You know, where you're at, and also just, you know, not having the funds, not having money.
Mm. And I mean, if you were able to talk to a guy that's a freshman and he gets he gets arrested or whatever the case may be, I mean, what would be your advice to them?
Just kind of just, you know, take this opportunity that they gave you to turn it around. You know, like your story doesn't end right here. You know, this could be, you could change it. You could write your story however you want to write it. It's just all in your hands. You know, no one's making you do anything. You don't have to do anything. Everything you're doing because you want to do it. You know, no one made me go to Purdue. I chose to go to Purdue. No one made me play football. No one made me act the way I acted off the field. No one made, you know what I mean? It's all your choice. So just let people know that the ball is in your court. You know, if you take responsibility for your actions and everything you're doing, you know, you can forever live with that. But if you're not, and you just always it's somebody else and blaming people, you're not gonna be able to do it. So, you know, just take responsibility, you know, for your actions and just, you know, do what you gotta do, man. It's easy now, dude. You know, just go to class and play football, man. Like this is great, right?
Well, hey man, I think that's a perfect thing to end on. I really appreciate you coming on and being honest and willing to talk about this with me. So thank you very much, and I'm glad we're able to do this. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, like I said, and I wish you and your girl nothing but the best with everything that you guys got going on in the future.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, boy. And I want to thank you, man, for having me on, man. I see your show, man. It's dope. I seen a few of the podcasts. I seen Joe Holland. I seen one of the Anthropes, man. It's dope, badass content, man. Keep it up. And before I get off, I want to shout out to my Boilermakers, man. I love you guys. Thank you guys for always being there for me. You guys were amazing. Purdue, all my people, my girl. Thank you guys for always being there, man. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you till then.
Yep, Merry Christmas.